Bert! Get him! Yeah! Ron Babe was right.
I'm feeling spry. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I was trying to come up with something that was whimsical and clever, and I came up with neither. But I did Google. I looked at Hallmark cards and poems about mothers, and oh my God, some of them make you cry, some of them make you laugh. But I think I found the best one. Author unknown. Life doesn't come with a manual. It comes with a mother. Come on now, that's the best, right? Life doesn't come with a manual. It comes with a mother. I couldn't find anything better. Onyx, the title sponsor of this show and everything I do in the outdoors and most of you do in the outdoors, is the best mapping system that's ever been created for us to go out and do our thing. Gunner Kennels is the best transportation kennel that's ever been made for your dog. W Supply has the best customer service of any company out there selling you the stuff you need for your dog, such as Garmin, the best tracking and training collars you could possibly put around your dog's neck. Not unlike Canine Athlete, the best supplements you can give your dog to give them that little extra something that you give yourself every day. Mossberg, the best selection of shotguns, hands down, that you've ever seen. Get their catalog. You'll love it. Boss Shot Shells, the best non-tox shell that's ever been created on this planet. Purina Pro Plan, the best dog food that's ever been created on this planet. Walton's, the best catalog that will turn your wild game kitchen into a professional wild game kitchen because they have everything but the meat. Marshwear, the best outdoor clothing for hunting, fishing, sailing, sunning, frisbee, doesn't matter what. Go to the Marshwear catalog and look at what they have. It's the best. Four-wheel camper Model M, absolutely hands down the best thing you could bolt to the bed of your truck for all your upland adventures. But you know what else is even better than the best? My Patreon patrons. Go to Patreon / Hunting Dog Podcast and become a patron, because you patrons that are listening to this are my oldest sponsor. You are my best sponsor, and I can't thank you enough. I just can't. I mean, you know what? You get the Zoom rooms, you get the history of the dogs, you get extra content, you get discounts on Canine Athlete, Walton's, Marshwear. I mean, you just, in fact, well, that's all. This is take 57, and I refuse to do another take. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I hope you enjoy. That was me killing a mosquito. It's that time of year. I hope you enjoy this episode. It was fortuitous, I guess you would call it. I got a call from somebody who bought a dog from me a few years back. We've stayed in touch. He also is a patron of the show, comes on the patron Zoom rooms from time to time. And, well, you know what? I'll let the episode just speak for itself. But you remember that one line from, like, The Sopranos where he says, like, I tried to get away and they pulled me back in? Well, all I'm saying is I got another one.
With two mics set in, like, with the custom mics, but...
You got all, like, radio station?
Yeah, is what it is. But they were cheap Amazon jobs.
What was the name of the podcast?
Hunting Fish Bums.
Hunting Fish Bums. Mm-hmm. And I remember you... What did I... So, all right, so I'm already recording. What did I... And then we'll go into introductions.
Okay.
What did I call you about? What did I give you shit about?
So my buddy wanted me to do a NAVDA, like, special thing. And my experience with NAVDA at that point was one NA test.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. And mainly just listening to you. But I think I said something like, I messed up what you needed to do for the invitational.
Right. Oh, yeah, you were like spouting out.
I said, like, if you get a prize one in
Blah, blah,
the
blah.
UT, you're automatically in the invitational if you want to go. And there was some other scoring
remember,
thing I messed
I do
up.
kind of remember scolding you on something.
That cracked me up.
Anyway, everybody, I'm at Garrett Thomas. It is Thomas, right?
Yep.
I always get screwed up because the sawmill is
McGuff Sawmill.
McGuff.
That'd be my mom's last name, so
Your mom's a McGuff.
The family sawmill was always McGuff.
So one of the coolest parts about this podcast is you're going to learn right now is there's been a sawmill on this property for how long?
1829 was the earliest record we could find.
1829.
Yep, I'm 7th generation from this locale.
That's hard to believe. But I mean, Pennsylvania, we're in Pennsylvania, by the way. I mean, Pennsylvania's been around since the beginning, but what it had to look like here.
Oh, I think about it all the time.
1820.
Like there's elk here.
That's right, like the real elk, not the ones. What county do you have the elk in?
Before that, Elk County.
That's Elk County.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them now, counties that have them. But yeah,
Is there? But that's all up on I-80, up north, right?
Mm-hmm. We had one here. I have a trail camera picture of an elk that came down
No way.
and got lost. Yeah.
Oh, that sawmill. So, we got to do the backstory a little bit. Back in the day when I had a whole bunch of Broncos and I was doing some breeding, I can't remember if you emailed me or cold called me or whatever, but I ended up selling you a puppy named Annie.
Annie.
You named her Annie. What did I name her?
You didn't name her.
Dancing Duke? Yeah, wasn't it Dancing Duke?
Oh. I don't know.
No, it's on that plaque over there.
Dancing Dude, Ron's Annie. Because it needed to start with an R.
Oh, that's right.
I'm like, Ron, there you go.
Ron's Annie. That's right. Dancing Duke, Ron's Annie. And back in the day, my friend Dave would take rides with me when I would literally have a mail route of delivering puppies. And I had gone through Pennsylvania, I've gone through Jersey, I've gone all the way down to Carolinas. And I met you down on the turnpike, didn't I?
Yeah. Bedford.
Did you think that was like I meet the guy I've never met the guy and we're gonna pull off on a
back alley
on a back alley of the toll road? What was that like?
No, I was pumped. I actually had my best Weimaraner pass away like 1 month before I got Annie from you. Like I called you that day.
Oh really?
And yeah, she was supposed to go to somebody in New England that was iffy, and you were just like, well, you seem like a kind of guy I'd rather sell the puppy to anyhow.
Yeah, I had a lot of those. You've had a few of those customers.
A lot of them.
But like I found most of the time it was like I didn't want to have people come all the way to Michigan, and I have for all transparency, I have a place in Virginia where I was going all the time for work. So I would literally have anywhere from 2 to 3. One trip I had 6 dogs. I made
dropping
them off along the way every few hours, and I had to coordinate people meet me on toll roads and meet me at gas stations, and
yeah.
So I was kind of like a drug dealer, you know. What made you think about a Bronco though? You had a Weimaraner; they don't look anything alike.
No, I had 2 Weimaraners, and they were both your typical German dog, where they were a lot. And I said, I want to go with the softest temperament type breed you can get that's still going to hunt birds.
Still going to hunt birds.
And I really like the look of the long ears. And
how did you find about them? Was it on Google search or?
Yeah, just I'm on the internet all day long at work.
You want to admit to that? Because you're getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
You're getting a paycheck from those people. Do you need a beer?
Yeah.
Which one?
Surprise me. That looks good.
Oh, Founders. That's a Michigan.
Yeah, and I've never had this one.
Well, if you ever come to Michigan, I'll take you to Founders.
Okay.
It's a great.
Take you up on that.
I'm not. Look what I'm drinking. The national beer of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you're drinking Pennsylvania beer. I'm drinking Michigan.
That's right. I didn't even think of that. Well, that's only 6.2. That's not that. Founders makes some. Founders makes some. I think one of them's called Dirty Bastard.
9.
Yeah, yeah, that'll get you where you're going. For a few cans of that. All right, back to the Broncos. So, you Google searched it, but I always said that was kind of like the problem with the breed because you didn't go to like breed mate, like plug in your personality. You just Because some
don't put much
people
stock
get
in
like, they're like, need kids, has to be good at here, this, and then it'll come up with a couple breeds for people.
Yeah.
And, those people did that research, you're a little more worried about it. But
Yeah, and I think every breed you look at says how good their temperament is, and I'm like, oh.
yeah, which one says dog will be shitty in the house?
This dog sucks.
Hard to potty train, probably will bite your kids.
Yeah.
So you found out about him. You didn't know the podcast.
I just looked at every pointing breed.
Every pointing breed and just read breed descriptions and because the Brockleback. When was that? This has been a while since I met you.
Like 2016, 8 years now.
Has it been?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there was some information out there. So you didn't see it on TV. You didn't hear my podcast. You didn't any of that. Because that would have turned you away from it if you listened to the podcast.
No, but shortly after I saw the Virginia episode.
Oh, okay, the dove hunting episode.
Yeah, and that sparked my interest even more.
You're like, oh, that dog even retrieves. And what was the problem with your wines? You say there were a lot, but was it everything from killing raccoons to
everything? That picture of me holding those doves over there, that was my old cabin that I used to live in during my college years. Mm-hmm. And there was several occasions, one in particular where, I'd just leave the sliding glass door open and the dog would go out and come in like all night long. I'm sitting there watching TV with a friend and we weren't paying attention to the dog, and I looked over and he has a live possum in his mouth about 3 feet from me on the couch.
Nice.
And then as I jumped up, it's running through the house. And
he didn't see anything wrong with it.
No, he got himself into a lot of. He would eat everything. We had a grouse hunt once where I had 3 grouse I breasted out, and they were outside sitting on the picnic table, and he had eaten 2 complete grouse carcasses. Just chomped them up and then came in and puked them up on the floor.
Now you're saying not the cleaned one, not the breast.
Not the breasts.
The whatever's left of the legs, the wings, the skin, the feathers.
Everything.
Just
the whole bird.
Head, neck, beak.
And somehow I didn't get sick. He puked it up. Those doves, we dove hunt a lot. The one day we killed 92 doves. There was like a dozen of us dove hunting all afternoon. Yeah. And you know what it's like cleaning a dove.
Yeah.
We had a giant tray of just the cleaned. I took them on the sink. This was after they were on the sink, sitting on the edge of the counter. And my buddy came in and he goes, "Gary, what'd you do with those dove breasts?" I said, "They're on the counter in there." He said, "No, they're not." And there's Clint, my Weimaraner, over on the couch, laying upside down with his belly. He ate every single one of those breasts. The breasts that helped.
Good God Almighty!
We had to go to the grocery store and get some chicken.
Couldn't even make a damn dove popper?
No.
Couldn't wrap a piece of bacon?
Was so
he
bad.
ate the whole pan of
92 doves.
90? No wonder. Well, we talked earlier. You could say that Broncos are goats, but they're not that bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, but the sad thing about because there's going to be a lot of picking on Bronco breed here on this podcast.
Yeah, we're not going to
do this breed any favors.
We're not selling puppies.
No, we're not selling puppies. In fact, we're going to try to talk you out of ever making.
I do that to everyone that calls.
You don't want one of these dogs. What they will do is, if at least in my case, if my hands have touched it, whether it's a pair of gloves or like a magazine, if I've touched it, only 2 of my Broncos have done this, but it's the 2 more recent ones. It's gone. If I turn my back, it's gone. It could be a magazine, it could be a paper towel roll, it could be a mitten, could be anything.
Do they chew it up or they just take it?
No. Chew it up, tear it up, swallow it. That's the one thing I haven't had to do. Somehow they've managed to shit it out. I had one close, though. I had one that ate a smart wool sock, but he did it because my friend was trying to take it away from him. So he got real possessive and he
sucked it down.
9 days later, it came out of his butt. But we were ready to go to the vet. My vet said, "Look, it's in there. You would not believe how many times clothing will work its way out."
As long as they're eating
But
and drinking.
if they're eating and drinking, she says, if you see the dog stop eating or drinking, we got a problem. Then get them in. I'll open them up and we'll get it out. Now, a lot of people would just say, well, let's just open them up now. And and I've always trusted my vet. I'm like, okay. And there was like 9 days later, he didn't eat his meal. I'm like, okay, gonna call my vet. Gonna make a schedule. Let her know that we're gonna come in. We gotta get this done. But at that point, it was the first meal he stopped eating, right? Mm-hmm. And it was early morning, and I'm looking out my kennel door, which would be like looking out your service door there, but it was a little more glass in it. And I saw him, the typical dog, posture for
Sick.
taking a dump. No, like all hunched up. But, most dogs only take, 10 seconds to take a crap? Mm-hmm. And I look up again, and he's still in that same posture. I'm like, oh my God. I hope she can open his clinic, because I'm thinking he's blocked up. And I go out there to look at him, and there's about 4 or 5 inches of that sock hanging out of his butt.
Tell me you grabbed onto it.
Yep. I was like, hallelujah. I grabbed it because, with Broncos,
That's such a weird feeling.
It's like delivering a calf.
Yeah, except
And with, the curse of the Broncos with the drool and the saliva, right? So there's a couple paper towel rolls everywhere. When people come over, you got to wipe it off your pants, wipe it off the table. And I grabbed a paper towel roll, and I literally made an oven mitten. Like, I took it around like I was wrapping a bleeding wound, and I walked up to him. Most dogs will walk away a little bit. He knew there was something wrong. He just sit there, and I reached up there with that paper towel mitten, went. Oh. Now that's a calf, mid-calf sock, and after a mid-calf sock has been wet, it'll stretch to about 18 inches, right? And he came out of there. He never missed a beat. He just went out and played with the rest of the dogs. He was like, "Thank you." But they are goats. But I've never had them steal all the game.
No,
That's
they're very soft with the game.
Yeah.
That I've done all my
Was
experience.
your Weim hardmouth?
Yeah, my good one was.
Your good one was.
Yeah, but which I didn't mind too much for the grouse was because at that time there was lots of grouse in Pennsylvania, and that's all I hunted.
Yeah.
And he, wouldn't do too much damage to them.
Well, yeah, you're shooting it. It's going to land 30 feet away.
Yeah.
And before he could do anything, you get it from him.
Yeah, and he stayed super close. He was the perfect grouse dog.
Was
Slow,
he?
methodical, smart.
And there was enough grouse for him to get good on grouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple years where I killed more than 20 myself, just hunting January. I never hunted the early years.
Really?
Or early months, I mean. But yeah, he was good. When they stopped the late season here in Pennsylvania is when my grouse hunting was pretty much done.
Why is that? That's kind of seems odd for most. We're always like October, November hunters,
Because I like archery hunting and
you're obsessed with.
and all my spots were like
Okay.
grapevine spots, and that's where they are in
So
January.
you just go back there in January and shoot your grouse.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a little deer obsessed. Garrett. You got about 100 deer racks up on the rafters that are your grandpa's or your dad's, you said.
Grandfathers.
Grandfather's.
A couple of my dad's in there, yeah. And
then
mine and my kids are over here.
Yeah, I could see. Why did you end up getting a dog? Just for 1 month a year?
Yeah, well now I'm a pheasant hunter now, the stock pheasants here.
Yeah. How about grouse around the area? Any I mean, I think I've told you before I hunted Potter County, but that's been 15 years ago.
Yeah, I hear the places up north are still, you could still go have some success.
It's worth
up
going.
there.
It's worth going for the day.
Yep.
No, what was it like? Were you shooting grouse right around here?
Mm-hmm. Within an hour.
Within an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. How about on the actual property? Did you ever see them on occasion?
No, I don't
Back-
have,
even
I
back
don't have
in
the right
day?
habitat here.
Yeah, just big
it's not
timber.
thick enough. Yeah. I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Well, yeah.
soon.
Now that you did some select cuts and some.
Yeah.
I didn't do any clear cuts, did you?
Pretty much.
Oh, is some of those clear?
Yeah.
I didn't look that close. We took the side by side out for a little roll with the dogs, and I am jealous because to be able to just grab a couple dogs and go on your 4-wheeler and just go down your own property for miles and miles and miles and around ponds, and I was like, oh, this is. And I always, I moved from Chicago to Michigan. I got 15 acres, and I feel like I got the king's land, right? And I come here, I'm like, I ain't got shit. I can't run down the road with my dogs and get hit.
I never knew any different.
Right.
Yeah.
So your family, besides a sawmill, has been here since historically. Was that a family sawmill back then, or was it just an area where sawmills were and your family moved in?
No, it was a family sawmill.
It was family. It's in the family.
In fact, at one point, there's some people that are pretty up on the local history.
Yeah, the historians.
This slate lick, which I didn't get to show you the stream, but you could jump. It's no wider than that golf cart right there.
Yeah.
But there were 6 sawmills on this stream at one point.
Wow.
In the later 1800s, all running off the water.
Holy shit! 6 sawmills.
Yeah, and only like a 5 mile.
And that had to be repeated over and over all over
yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yep, dam up the creek.
Use that for a turbine.
The water wheel. Yep.
What's the oldest picture? Now I know people didn't get pictures taken until after Lincoln was assassinated. But what's your oldest picture of a sawmill?
Not that old.
Not that old. No.
They're all terrible pictures.
The McGuffs didn't have any money for cameras.
No, or time.
Or time.
But one of my Pap's brothers just passed away. He lived in New Mexico. He was big up on it and showed me all the places. It's been relocated 5 times on the property here.
And back in the day, it would have been a circular head saw like that up on the wall.
Yeah. Well, with the water, it was the 2...
Oh, that's how it ran.
Vertical, yeah.
So there wasn't probably not enough power to actually turn a head saw.
Yeah, you need speed for
a head saw. But you could have the 2 blades.
Yep. My uncle would tell me stories. The one they had was pneumatic down here, and it'd cut through a 16-foot log in less than 2 seconds. Just shoot that sucker through.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, I have a deep love of sawmills because when I moved to Michigan, it turns out my neighbor, who became one of my best friends until he died a couple years ago, he had a sawmill that he built. He was one of these guys that would have been the same in Pennsylvania or in Michigan. His family always did everything. They were electricians, plumbers, loggers, bulldozer operators. All his family worked at the road commission. The kids grew up on machinery. And Jerry, back in the day, bought most of the components of a sawmill, set it up, poured a concrete pad with no roof, and literally cut his building around it.
Yeah.
Instead of building a building and say, I'm going to put a sawmill in it.
Yeah.
No, it was run by a 1931 Caterpillar diesel engine, bulldozer.
It's called
engine.
making your own gravy.
And that ran the head saw and a couple other implements, and then he put another newer diesel to generate power, because then he wanted to bring in a chop saw and some other things. But originally that thing ran on, everything from belts, and it was cool old
bandsaw.
Head saw. It was a cool old building. Holy shit! It just smelled. It just smelled like every piece of wood he ever cut in there. I love that. And I cut all the siding for my house. Never did have the guts to run the head saw though.
No.
And all you have to do is pull that damn handle.
I was gonna say.
And then, chink it, okay, another inch, right?
Yeah.
That thing whirring around there with one little piece of wire screen, like a screen door that was there just to keep the chips from hitting the head sawyer's face. It looked like the Wheel of Death in every movie I've ever seen. And I was like, I ain't getting near that thing. I worked the end of the tail and I stacked the lumber and occasionally the edge. I was afraid of. Well, we've digressed off of dogs. Okay, so you're Weimeraner, grew up here. Did you guys have dogs before the Weimaraner? Did your dad have dogs? Were you
Golden Retrievers.
So not heavy, just dogs.
I took an interest to it when I was 16 or so. I've always been huge into
archery and deer hunting.
Every type of hunting. So you name it, I'm into it. But I took and trying to train her to track and stuff like that. It's a golden retriever that was already 6. Mm-hmm. But
did it work?
No. But I had fun doing it. I trained her to track stuff in the yard, but never really successful.
How about the Weim? Because they're good for blood tracking too. A lot of good dogs are good for blood tracking, but I've heard that Weims can have a strong point on that.
Yeah, my first Weim Clint was just naturally good at everything, despite how I tried to screw him up with all my lack of training knowledge.
But you've tracked some of your shot deer with your Weims?
No, I actually never have.
You're that good of a shot?
No. Yeah.
You're that good at blood tracking on your own.
They legalized it here in Pennsylvania now, though, that you can use dogs. I think 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
So,
and the
I
funny
have
thing
some
was, New
buddies who
York
paid a
was
lot
the
of money
first
for that.
state. New York was the first state to legalize it.
I didn't know that.
Yep. I interviewed the guy John Jenny, I think, years ago, and he petitioned the state of New York to use in recovery. Now I think almost every state has at least a leash law blood track. Mm-hmm. But you never did it?
Nope. I mean, I have had hit deer where if I'll do the typical all night blood track and then grid search in the morning, and then as last ditch effort, I'll take the dogs out and run around. I really try to do deer deterrent with them.
Yeah.
More so.
As
I
opposed
don't want
to
to encourage it.
As opposed
I don't
to
want to encourage it.
especially the Weimaraner.
Yeah.
So you get your first Bronco from me. When did you make the dumb error to say I want to get another one? How long did that take?
Well, I think you talked me into doing like a co-owned litter because I wanted another one, and I liked Annie so much, I wanted one from her.
Yeah.
And that was right when you said you were getting real busy, and I was already like gung-ho on this co-owned litter, and I'm like, well, if he can't do it, screw it, I'll do it by myself.
Do it.
Yeah. And you put me in touch with some good dog people, and
Now you've had a couple, 3 I don't know what you've had.
4.
4.
Yeah.
Are you doing the alphabetizing name of the whole thing?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. I like that because when somebody says they have Dancing Duke Herman, I know it's like A, B, C, D. E,
Yeah.
G. Oh, that's my 6th litter, you know. Hi.
Hi.
You want to join in?
No.
You don't want to?
Run kids is what I'm going to do. Are you guys on yet?
Yeah.
No.
Say hi.
I come around and just say hi?
Yeah.
This is my wife Melanie just came in the garage.
ouch.
Sorry.
Yeah, he just
What do you think of the Broncos, Melanie? We're kind of like semi-bashing on them a little bit.
Oh, well, do you want me to bash on them?
Sure, a little bit.
I love them, but...
Love them, but.
House dogs? No. And just the stubbornness, I would say, is probably... Like, if you want to compare Katie to Giannis as far as how well they listen, Giannis listens to you like crazy. And even to me as well. He won't run off unless the other ones do. Katie doesn't care.
She just does her
She
own.
goes.
Kind of like Itty when Itty was here for the...
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie. I don't care if I ever see that dog again.
So, you've got, what's your name? Male? Murph is your male.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Murphy.
And he is, like, I will say, a gorgeous dog. I even told you that when we were looking. Like, I think you should have put him in the show ring as well because he could hunt. And he could, he's a good dog in a show ring. He's got to have that hop in their step. And they got to be out there, like, really, if they're slinking along, they're not going to make it, right? And he would go right to the show ring. I could tell. And so I thought, all right, I got Eddie. I know Garrett. I'm not going to deal with the whole Bronco of Italiano Club of America. And I said, how about if I bring Eddie here and try a breeding? And what? And
I had nightmares, like,
are you have PTSD from this?
because, I mean...
It shouldn't be that hard to do.
It shouldn't. She just kept laying down, so you're trying to hold her, and she would move her tail over, so it's not like...
It's not like it wasn't
No,
supposed
it was
to happen.
supposed to happen. So holding her up, and then...
And she's no small girl. No, she's about an 80-pound...
I was sweating. Like, we tried for a couple hours, and poor Murphy was so... He was doing his job. Like, he knew what to do. He tried... He went over one time and just laid down and was like, I'm exhausted.
I can't. He tapped out.
Yeah, he did. He was like, I'm done.
But you guys tried. You exhausted all means of...
Yeah, we did.
Other than, like, show him a video or show her a video of how to stand. which would have done no good because her name is Itty for a reason. But at least I can publicly thank you on the on the recording for all the efforts you did.
That's appreciated. All right, well, I'm gonna go. Nice, thank you for letting me say hi to everybody. All right.
I'll send you a picture of Itty just to
Yeah.
You can bring it to your you can bring it to your therapist. See, this is the reason. Thank you. Yeah, you guys went above and beyond.
Yeah, she did.
Well, yeah, but you get dragged into it.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yep.
God, now I lost. Where were we on chronology? All right, so you bred Annie to, I think it was Bobby's dog.
Bobby's dog.
Right. So that was your first litter.
Yep.
Then did Murph come out of that litter?
Yep, he was the first litter.
Okay. And then where'd you go from there?
Then the next year we did a repeat breeding with Bobby.
Right.
Driving out.
Okay.
That was 6 trips out to Iowa over the period of a couple years there.
Trip out and back to drop them off, out and back to.
Well, check it out first. I wanted to check them out.
I've never been to her place. It's a good place.
It's unbelievable.
Really?
It's like in the bird hunter, whitetail hunter heaven.
Oh.
That, like right in that corner of Iowa. That's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that everyone wants to. Duck hunting, anyhow.
And her husband has drought hares or wire hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice setup, and they know dogs.
Yeah.
But the whole house is just dogs. I mean, the whole underneath is all kennels, and I think they have horses too, but it's a cool setup. So yeah, we had that litter twice, and then I got Katie from a breeder in North Carolina,
Right.
Rockford Kennels, and she turned out to be a really good dog.
Yeah, I was watching her run. She gets on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can keep her in check, she covers ground, and she's bird crazy. So I bred her with Murph for the next 2 litters.
Right.
And I didn't want to have a third same litter just to have too many same.
You know, I made that mistake. I did Artie and Bravo. Everybody loved the pups, right? In fact, you know, we'll probably touch on the breed club. Not every breed club, but we can speak about the Bracco breed club a little bit, right? It's a little cray-cray.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I had one person from the Bracco club tell me I shouldn't even be breeding Artie because she's liver and white. I'm like...
Are they trying to breed that color out?
I have no... I said, well, they've been like that in Italy forever, right?
Yeah, and I like that color.
Piedmont and Lombardy or whatever. I can't, you know, from 2 different regions. And I remember this lady, and I will leave her name off. She said, well, you really shouldn't even be breeding a brown Bracco because it's not a desirable color. I'm like, I want to tell you how much I don't think is desirable about you.
Yeah.
When she was on the phone. This
is America.
I have had so many good puppies out of those 2 dogs. She had good sized litters, great mom, but you know, we're both, as about 85% of the breeder, we're both our kennels in our backyard. So we're backyard breeders. We don't have enough dogs to be like John or Whaley. You know, we're not going to have 18 litters of dogs a year and work. We're just trying to, we love our dogs, and we're like,
yeah.
And other people want the dogs.
A lot of people desire backyard breeders, I've found, because there's more like special attention.
If the backyard is in back of a nice house on a nice piece of property, I'd rather go there than to a bigger kennel where it is all just
yeah.
I don't want to say it's certainly not a mill. They've just got the ability to do 8, 10, 12 breedings a year, and there's no family feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, if you didn't want to do that again, I bred Bravo. I think, God, I don't know if I should say it. I think I bred those 2 4. I know I bred them 3 times. Might have bred, but then he also bred Allison's dogs in California. He bred 3 or 4 other people's dogs. So then, at that point in the Bracco Club, he was the sire of like and it was too close a breeding. You know, I didn't do it any favors.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I got a great dog, and I got a great female.
Yeah, everybody's happy.
And
Why
everybody
not?
loves them.
Yeah.
And they were a healthy bunch of dogs. We didn't have any problems. And then it seems like it just went like sideways. I don't want to say it's because of importing. There's just not that many of them here for the data. But did you have any health problems within the years?
No. I had one puppy I had big litters. I had 11, 10, and 11.
Oh, yeah. I had 10s. I don't know if I had an 11.
Yeah. And out of all, 43 dogs, one passed away mysteriously at the age of like 6 months.
Wow.
And it might not have had something similar, like
Yeah.
drank something it shouldn't have.
Right.
And who knows. But other than that, they had some, I'm going to mess up the medical name, but basically growing pains.
Yeah.
HUD maybe? Is that?
Oh, it's like where their growth plates aren't?
Yes.
Bravo had that.
Oh.
That I got from... never told you that. But
Thanks a lot.
but the vet, this is what my vet told me. I picked up Bravo, a friend of mine, she had a Bronco and she lived in Washington, D.C. He was flying in from Frankfurt to Dulles Airport. And I had a duck hunt scheduled with a neighbor, a friend of mine. And I called her up. I says, hey, any chance that you'd be able to go to the airport if I get your name on the paperwork? She goes, are you kidding? I'd love to see, she's a dog nut, you know. And so I was living in Virginia most of the year. I pick it up from her, or she actually came back to my house in Virginia, brought me the dog after I had a nice hunt on the Eastern, talk about, I had an Eastern Shore brand hunt and diver hunt on the Eastern Shore, came home and this girl delivers my puppy the next day.
That's working it.
Yeah, that was working the system. And I wasn't scheduled to go home for probably 3-4 weeks. And one morning he couldn't get up. I said, what's the matter? And had a good vet in the valley, and he was an orthopedic specialist. He took an x-ray and he said that he's seen this before with imported dogs, that their dog food over there doesn't have enough vitamin C, and basically it was like rickets almost. Mm-hmm. But,
Same thing. A couple of my puppy buyers from the past litter.
But they
2
got
for
out,
sure, maybe 3.
They came through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always just a adolescent thing.
Right. And I had to cut him back a little bit on food, because this food is like, a good bag of Purina Pro Plan is like 20 bags of stuff in Hungary or wherever, Italy. And so, I cut him back on food. I might even have got like a more lower protein food or something. I can't remember. And then he was fine. He lived to be a ripe old age. But I'll bet you that is where that came from.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So you've had 4 litters. Mm-hmm. Right now, I got a call from Garrett the other day, and I was driving to Virginia, and I don't know if you want to take it from there. You're like, hey, Ron, do you know anybody that would be looking for a Bronco? I've got a female. I'm going to be rebuilding a house. I'm not going to have any time for her. And I know enough people that write me, but I don't know the people. And then my wheels started spinning. I'm like, well, if she's nice, and well, she does this, and so now I'm over here at Garrett's kennel. And
it didn't take much persuasion at all.
And I needed, but I've been going down the road of getting because I've got that little cocker. Mm-hmm. I've gone down the road of getting a Springer. I've been thinking about getting another Flushing dog because I like the range, and I don't walk that much anymore. I'd rather have the dogs busy right in front of me. If my dog goes on point 300 yards to the left, it might take me a while to get there. But I've got I don't know why I have a fondness for this breed. But
there's something there. There's something there that draws me, to these Broncos. For what I do, I should have a Flushing dog. I should just have a close range Flushing dog.
Springer Spaniel or Cocker Spaniel.
That's what I should have. But I am so drawn to the pointers that
Well, yeah, when it all comes together, you can't beat a pointed bird.
No.
You just can't beat a pointed bird. I
Yeah.
mean, with the flushing dog, like, you have to be on your game in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no, like, chatting with your friend and not paying attention to your flushing dog. Where the good pointing dog learns the game, you could be distracted. You could be taking a leak. You could be lighting a cigar, and all of a sudden your watch or your Garmin goes off. Hey, hang on. Oh, he's 60 yards over that way.
Yeah.
Flushing dog needs 100% attention.
Yeah.
You know? But I've been toying around with another dog, and I'm down to 3, and that's why I'm over here in Pennsylvania today.
Yeah.
Just to help you out. I mean, you're going to have a big year moving down closer to the sawmill.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for helping me out, Ron.
Thanks for selling me my first stupid, drooling, long-eared, goat-eating.
Yep. And well, like I told Ron, this dog is, I think it could have some real potential, and I don't want to see it go through its first 2 years without getting.
And I told you I was guilty of that with Zara.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of self-benched her. Some of it's from work, some of it, from life. You got baseball. Like, there's days you can't put the time into the dogs, which that's true with everybody. But now you're also going to be moving, redoing a house. That's going to be how long of a project's that going to be?
It's gonna be
All of this year?
ongoing for a while, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, a year maybe.
So yeah, when you called me up, I was like, well, let's talk. So, full transparency, I'm down to 1 Bronco at home, and I'm going to be up to 2 Broncos by the time I get home from Pennsylvania. So, I'm not regretting it. I'm kind of excited about it. But here's the things I didn't get to find out. We know the swimming problems with Broncos.
Yep. I've had 5 Broncos and 1 that swam well, and that was the one that came from you.
Right.
All the other ones, some of them will go with a lot of coaxing. Will get in the water, and some of them won't even get in.
Some of them won't even get in. And then the ones that, like, don't mind going in also decide not to use their back legs. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they're drowning. But they'll go back in again, so they're not panicked. Otherwise, if they were panicked, they wouldn't go back in.
Yeah.
But
we're the ones that are panicking while they're trying to...
Because I'm not good at that, like, Coast Guard arm around the neck, side paddling a dog or a person back to shore. No, that's not me. A dog's going to have to get back to shore. So that would be the only thing I'm leery of. But I've got the perfect little pond in my backyard, which would be about the size of this, half the size of this. So I could dial her in there. And I had one that I sold to, there was a young kid that, I think of you with all these, every time I look at you, I see all these deer racks all over the place. Matt is a prolific deer hunter, but he wanted a bird dog, and they got one of our Broncos. And same thing. It wasn't going to use his back legs. We ended up getting a duck from a duck breeder, and it was not like what even looks like what you use at a dog test. It was like a big white duck, like Chelveston the duck. And we put that.
It's like a palomino to the dog.
Right. We put that duck in my pond, and that dog, and just like I said, it would be like, how fast a dog can run around his garage. A lap every 15 seconds. Right?
Yeah.
He ran around that pond, and he finally dove in, and we found out he didn't know how to use his back legs, and he didn't give up.
Didn't go anywhere.
He was going to get that duck no matter what. And we always said, like, he eventually learned to swim because he wanted the duck so bad.
Well, that was how I got Annie to swim. I don't know if you remember this, but I called you before my first
your
NA
test.
test, and I said, listen, I can get her to go in about 50% of the time with a bumper. Mm-hmm. But I want to nail this test, and I don't know what's going on. You just said try a bird,
right?
Put a live bird in there, and that was the first time I threw I think I had a half. I broke the wings off of a chucker, and threw it in, and she ran up to the edge of that pond, and all the other entries were like super slow and awkward with coaxing.
Right.
She ran up to the edge of the pond and stopped, and then jumped about 6 feet into the water.
Like cleared.
Yeah, like cleared, like a
belly flopped into
dock,
the water.
like a dog would do.
Yeah.
And went out and brought the bird back, and I'm like, well, okay, I think I'm going to keep doing this for a week or two.
And I probably told you not to go back to bumpers.
Yes, you did.
And how'd she do on
So
test day?
at the NA test,
Yeah.
I'm nervous as shit if what she's gonna do because it's a totally different environment. I threw the bumper in, and she ran out to the edge and did that giant jump into water, and everybody went, "Oh!" And people say Broncos don't like water. They were all laughing, and I said, I didn't tell them, but in my head I'm thinking she really doesn't like water. And the reason why she's jumping is because she's scared, I think. But it looked really good.
It looked good.
And it impressed
It looked better than the other 9 puppies there that day, probably.
Yeah. She did really well on that NA test. And I called.
And didn't have a problem with the second bumper. She went. It was.
Yeah, second bumper.
And I told people this, and this comes to a lot of, like, there's a ton of dogs that have that same hesitancy. Sometimes it stays with them forever. Sometimes it just isn't. They just don't have the confidence by the time they're doing an NA test. Mm-hmm. And I've told so many people that I said, I want you to go to a bird, live bird if you can. And I did that. I've done that with a couple dogs. And don't overdo it, but don't go back to the bumper because they've already refused to. You're throwing the bumper. You're like, come on, fetch it up. You're doing all that crap. What you're doing is naming, not going in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've just named. I'm standing at.
Whenever he starts acting like an idiot with a bumper is whenever I realize what's going on. I'm going to shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
So you named, like, the dance, whatever you're doing. The dog's there. It's not going after the bumper. And you're like, good girl. Come on. You just named not going in the water.
Yeah.
So I said, do not go back to the. You'll go to the bumper on test day.
Yeah.
But if all that dog sees is birds, and if you get that bumper in your hand and you just wiggle it around, she thinks from her last 10 associations with water entry that he's got to be throwing a bird in there. Mm-hmm. Now, it hadn't backfired, but I did have a guy tell me, he said, oh my God, first bumper in, and I told him when he throws the bumper in, not to just, I told him to do a flip to it, like so it would, kind of circle.
Lots of motion.
Yeah, lots of motion. He says, the dog charged in there, grabbed that bumper back, dropped the bumper on short, he picked the bumper up, and he did it again. The dog looked at him.
Fool me once.
Only once. And I said, what happened? He goes, well, I had to come back for a bird. That dog. But I'll bet you he didn't listen, and I'll bet you he tried a bumper at some point.
Yeah.
Because if all they know is birds, they think, oh, this guy, my owner loves me.
Yeah.
The best thing in the world. And, I judge now for the Versal Hind Dog Federation now. Their puppy test, they ask the dogs to go with no stimulation. Just go.
Oh, boy.
Right. Now, you're allowed to use a bumper, but you get a lower score just for using the bumper.
What's the success rate on that, I wonder?
Well, the one test that I judged, 3 puppies, every one of them got in there without the bumper. And then what the funny part was...
What breed?
I think it was 2 short hairs and a Vizsla.
Really?
Maybe a wire, a short, and a Vizsla. Because, I just started judging for them, and it's very similar rules to NAVDA. But there's, like, this is different. It's a 10-point system, so if your dog will go in the water, if you say, fetch it up, dog goes in, all dogs got to do is go in, swim a little bit, call him back. They told one guy, they said, the dog started, like, it's a puppy, just started swimming out there like he was doing a duck search. And he's calling him back, and the guy says, get the bumper. He says, throw the bumper. He goes, no, throw the bumper on the land behind you.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, hey, throws the bumper over his shoulder. Dog comes back up, gets the bumper. Told the dog to hunt it up again. Dog went right back in without the bumper. So they'll let you use the bumper to call your dog out.
That's a swimming dog. There.
That's a swimming. But that's the beauty of that system. You have a dog that will go into that water without stimulation. Part of it is training, exposure, getting him a routine. Like, all right, come on, let's go. But it's not always reliant on that his stimulation. And like I said, Broncos, back in the day, Spinonis. There was quite a few breeds. A lot of Vizslas early on. Really weak on the water. Mm-hmm. And yet I still want another one.
Me too.
You too. Well, it should. We'll see if it works out. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's my Pudelpointer's my duck and geese dog all September, October.
How is that around here? I'm sure geese are good here, right?
Yeah, there's a big lake about a half mile, Glendale Lake.
Now, do you hunt the lake or do you hunt out in your fields?
We used to hunt the lake, but there's a lot of rules over there that you have to abide by, so we hunt local ponds.
Yeah.
I have some cousins that have a whole bunch of ponds, kind of similar to my property, that they fly into.
How many relatives you got? You guys own the county here or just the township?
Most of the township.
Just most of the township is related to you?
Yeah, their property, it's actually a lot bigger than mine. They had my grandparents, their brother and sister married brother and sister. And
really?
They each had 7 kids.
Holy
yeah, there's a lot.
So you got 2 different family names.
2 different family names. Yeah, the Holtzes and the McGuffs. And we good friends.
Do any of them have bird dogs?
No. They're all into skeet. They have their own skeet field.
Like their own pro skeet field on their own property?
Registered shoots there.
Oh, no
there's
kidding.
all kind of stuff.
You go over there and poke around a little bit?
Yeah. I haven't since I've had kids so much. They're getting back into it now, but
The boys shoot there?
but they shoot trap now. But
Yeah.
coming in.
Have you traveled out of state with the dogs or just hunted around Pennsylvania?
No, I've never gone on an out-of-state hunt with a dog. I know. I know.
By the time your kids are old enough to where you can get away, I'll probably be dead already. So I'd invite you, but
yeah,
I don't know if you can
The
get
problem is I only get 2 days personal a year at work, so I have to save up for 3 years, and I use that for elk hunts. So there's not a lot of time to get out there.
So it's not like a lot of jobs where you get all this PTO time because you're a teacher, you're off the summer.
Yep.
So is that considered vacation, or can you get some vacation while you're teaching? 2 weeks.
2 days.
2 days?
2 days a year?
What about
I can't complain. I get all summer off, but at the same time,
yeah, but there's nothing
it
open
sucks
in
for
the
a hunter.
It sucks to own a bird dog.
Yeah, it does.
Where did you have to go for your NA test? I know there's a lot of chapters in Pennsylvania.
Hickory.
Hickory, I've been there. It's like an old
It's like Whitehaven,
dog
Pennsylvania.
beagle club. There's an old clubhouse there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've gone to Butler 3 times, I think, for tests, which is north of Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah. I've been up there before. What made you get to Pudelpointer? Just the duck and goose part?
Pretty much. I really like the breed too.
Researching wise? Or
Yeah,
did you know
just
somebody?
researching wise, and I kind of wanted a dog that was closer to maybe my first Weimaraner, and that's exactly what I got.
You went back to some
He's
Germans. You went back to some European
a huge pain in the ass.
north of the Alps.
Yeah. Yeah, great hunter, terrible pet.
Terrible pet. And, you know, when I met you, I met you on the highway when we exchanged puppy back in the day. But I came here with Eddie, and when I saw that you had dog kennels off your garage, I immediately said, good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a house dog if it's a good house dog. But having 4 or 5 dogs, I can't even fathom it. And I know a ton of people that every dog they have
Is in the house.
is in the house.
I couldn't imagine.
I can't, let alone with Broncos.
Yeah.
I mean, but your mom takes Murph.
Yeah.
So your mom,
Yeah, takes Murph out there, and
does he spend the night there or just watch TV on the couch, or what's he do?
yeah, he goes. He's in the house. She has a setup kind of like me too in the garage to leave him out there sometimes. Mm-hmm. But he has an underground fence where he's always out in the yard. Murph has a good life.
He is the best.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Yep.
Are you thinking down the road of any other breed of dog?
No.
No.
I think I'm gonna be Broncos till.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because like you know all the faults.
Oh yeah. I mean, if the perfect flushing dog comes into my radar,
You could throw
I might do that just for hunting purposes.
And you're thinking Springer or Cocker, not.
Yeah.
I mean, a lab technically is a flusher, but
Yeah. No.
you have to really find the right lab to be.
Something about the look of labs I just don't like. The short ears and the bigger bodies.
You like you like some hound?
Yeah.
Did you ever have hounds here? You have to have houndsmen around this area.
Yeah. Mainly just coyote guys.
Oh, not coon?
Not too much.
Really?
There's enough coon here to hunt. Just
I would
doesn't
think.
seem too many people do it.
This is the. I don't know. You've lived here your whole life. I grew up in Chicago and then moved to Michigan almost 40 years now. And it hit me again when I got off of the Altoona, off of 99, and I started taking whatever that was, 22 or 4, whatever it is that gets this way.
Mm-hmm.
If people have never been to like rural Pennsylvania or rural, and I don't see it in Virginia as much, but rural West Virginia I see it. If you stepped off your porch, you could walk into traffic. In some of these little towns. Those houses are built literally
Right on top.
Right on. Some of them don't even have room for the car.
Yeah. There's garages on the berm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you walked out there a little staggery one day, you walk right into 2-lane traffic.
Yeah.
Now, people aren't going that fast, but it doesn't take much for a car. And I came through that first little town, and I was like, oh my God, this is not a drinker's paradise.
It's old coal mining is what it is.
Well, yeah, so why? Is the only flat ground was near the road to build a house? I mean, some of them are literally, you could flick my cigar and cross the road
Yeah.
with the road from your front porch. And the porch would be basically the door.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's all these little poor old coal mining towns that, they
They
build
just
them.
built the houses right
There's
along
like tons and tons of towns of 50 houses.
yeah,
and
and
they're
they're
right
right
there
on
on
the
the
road.
road.
Right on the road.
Yep.
Both, and there's nothing behind them. There's nothing before or after
Yeah, it's
them.
all state land usually behind them.
God, that's a scary proposition for a guy who, back in the day
Yeah.
had,
Had a few too
didn't
many.
have a cell
I have
phone.
enough room here.
Didn't have a cell phone for distract. Like, you cannot look at your cell phone on those roads.
No.
You have to literally have 10 and 2 on the wheel and hope nobody's front door opens up.
Yep.
But your dogs get the best of both. I mean, there's a road here, but we took that you're side by side, and those dogs just had a ball running out there. That's you got a big pond, you got a little pond, it's not a bad deal.
Yeah. Yeah, we're sitting pretty.
Yeah, from 7 generations.
Yeah, seventh generation. I think 1796 was the first McGuff property here.
Really?
It wasn't as big as it is
Right,
now, but yeah.
1796, right after the Revolutionary War.
Yep.
Holy crap!
From Donegal Island, Ireland.
I was gonna say there's no asking what country you're from with
Yeah.
McDuff.
I have a lot of, obviously, like 8 other places we came from, but this is the only one that I really can follow the line.
Pull your lineage from. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you've had enough experiences when you're getting a litter of puppies, you got people that are inquiring. What's been your? Do you have a couple barometers if somebody calls you and asks you like wrong questions, or how many people come out to meet the breed before they commit, or are they more like you did with me? I wanted the breed and like, oh, whatever it takes, I'll be there at 8 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever. Do you get a little bit of both, or?
I've had people wait over 2 years for a puppy. They
Really?
call, yeah, and they'll come out and visit, and I've taken people on hunts to shoot, as I told you, the game commission birds that come onto my property. I've taken them out and hunted
That's
them.
another thing. You get the state releases birds, and the birds end up on your property.
Yeah.
That's not bad living.
Yeah, it's a good gig. And yeah, I've had also people that, it's bizarre. You'll get odd questions. I'm sure you've talked. I spent a ton of time on the phone all year long.
Yeah.
And
And you can't cut it short because
you want to
they're
let
interested
them
in-
know.
Right.
And like we said earlier, it always goes back to it seems like you're talking me out of this, dog. And really what it is I want them to know every problem about
Right.
the dog because I don't want them to be disappointed.
From the drooling to the drinking water to the,
Yeah.
you know, like the almost, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't seem like a bird dog until they're hunting birds.
Until they're hunting. Yeah, and they, especially Annie and Katie, my females, they just totally flip a switch when it's time. It's time to go. And
But the rest of the time, they'd be like, look for furniture and look for.
Yeah.
Like, I got one chair left in my kennel office and where I record my podcast, and there's one chair. And Itty, your favorite dog, does not fit in this chair, and she runs to it, curls up in it with her legs hanging over and her head hanging over. Does not look comfortable whatsoever. Mm-mm. And she absolutely, that's her chair.
loves it.
But they're like, I always, this is so wrong. I always feel like they're like me in grade school. Like, I didn't have good reading comprehension, but I was a good kid.
Yeah.
But
it seems like
a
they're
lot of
missing
people would
something.
call me a little dumb.
Yeah.
You know?
My Weimaraner was like, we were so in tune with each other
Yeah.
and he was so smart. Like the stuff he could figure out, and if he was bad, it was like bad on purpose. Mm-hmm. These guys, I don't really know. They kind of,
You don't know if they're making a mistake.
They're just sweet.
Or if they're faking it.
Yeah, if they're fake, it's harder to read their.
It's hard to get mad at them.
Yeah, I don't know other than some stupid things, I don't get mad at them at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird breed. It is truly a weird breed, and I can't believe I'm adding adding one back to the mix again. But I talked about getting a short hair. I talked about getting a first Springer, but that's just, it's down the road because I do like the flushing dog. I like the flushing dog because you don't have to worry about them running away. Literally, they just. You've had a few dogs where you let out and they're like, "See ya."
Yep.
That my experience with my two cockers that I've had, that doesn't happen. If Vivi was out right now, other than she might wander by the road, she could be out around the back of the garage just milling around. I just go V,
Right. Yeah.
she's like a bullet, like she's got like Thor's hammer when Thor's laying down the ground, and he puts his hand up and the hammer goes shoop
Right
back in
there.
his head. That's how.
That has to be bred into them, like with their range. Their range
It's got to be. Their range is naturally
50 and under. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you hunt them into grousewoods, you want it 20. Mm-hmm.
Now, my first Weimaraner, why he was so good is his range was naturally so close,
Now, how close do you say when you say close?
like 40-yard max.
Which is great for grouse.
Yep.
Now, somebody would write up and say like, "Yeah, my dog finds them at 100." Well, if I'm hunting a small cover, I want him to be thorough in that small cover. I don't need him to go to the end of the cover.
Yeah.
What's to think there's not a bird between here and the end of the cover? What's the point of dog running 200 yards before he decides to look for birds?
Yeah, when you're going to go there anyhow. Yeah. Yeah, the cornfields are a little trouble sometimes around here. If the birds are in corn,
Yeah.
they're not going to stop running.
Yeah, that would be. Are you ever thinking about going back to a Weim?
No. Absolutely not. That's what I'm so surprised you said about thinking about a short hair.
Well, but that could go all over the board. Like, I know a couple of breeders, one in particular, it'd pretty much be a GSP that acts like our Bracos.
Yeah. Well, you could talk me into that, but I'm not going to buy a puppy.
From somebody I didn't know or no. And that's the one thing I think you could get with a Braco is, other than Hope. Hope had a little cooperation issue. She had a little bit of runaway, and I ended up giving her to Jennifer. Because the dog ran away on me all the time. Never got hit by a car. Came back with another dog full of porcupine quills. But she was obsessed with just running off. But I've never had another Braco that did that. Even when I'm in North Dakota, I cut them all loose. When I've had as many as 3 out there. And they are somewhere around the pond or the house we rent or the property. I blow the whistle and it's like 1, 2, 3. What's up? Like, you don't have to worry about them being self-hunters.
It's so nice to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, letting them out and having a little peace of mind that you're not like, oh, what are they gonna do? You know.
Well, did you see that long check cord tied up to the end of the kennel out there?
I didn't notice it.
No. Most of the time, what I do is I put Katie on that check cord so she's hooked, and the other two can run around. If not, she'll take the other two on a goose chase.
But I gotta believe that's from conditioning. Like, she knows this property.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I watched her run with you and I in the side by side. She's like, we're going on the run. We're going to the sawmill, and she's just like, she wasn't hunting. She was just getting some exercise.
Yeah.
And I think she's probably like, what do you mean I can't go exercise? Because you can kind of try. If you did let her go by herself,
Yeah, totally. You're right. It's conditioning.
She's going to go on that same run. She's going to end up down at your parents' house.
And whenever she's gone, I get in a buggy with a spotlight or whatever because I know she's somewhere
Right here.
in that loop. Yeah.
But a little more independent.
Yeah, a lot more.
A lot more. But a little bit in
I
it.
do a lot of hitting
nurture.
the old beeper on the collar while we're hunting.
Yeah. What is the I don't know if we covered it or if we talked about it before I hit record. When you started grouse hunting here, you said you always hunted in January
Yeah.
because you were done deer hunting, or maybe December. But
Yeah, the 2 weeks before Christmas was a nice
Yeah.
2 weeks, and then 4 weeks
but
after.
Pennsylvania back in those days, you couldn't hunt weekends.
Couldn't hunt Sundays.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not weekends.
Yeah.
Sundays. You couldn't hunt Sundays. Now that's changed a little bit, right? For a couple weekends.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect the bird hunters too much, but there's 3 weeks in the end of November, and I think one in December. I could be wrong on that, but there's 3 weekends basically in a row where you can hunt through Sunday for bear, deer, and then I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
There's another day. So there's 3 Sundays you can hunt in the most popular parts,
Right.
but not.
But historically, you had Saturdays.
Yep.
So you had literally.
But I'd hunt after school every day.
Oh, you could go out after school
Yeah, I'd be home at 3, dog in the grouse woods.
till dark.
Try to get 1 or 2 till dark. Yeah.
That's how it used to be in my house, but now I have to go a little further too.
Yeah.
I can find a grouse,
Yeah.
but I can't find multiple grouse.
Yeah, I had some pretty close spots.
And is that on state or was that on?
A lot of it is like coal company owned stuff
Yeah.
that wasn't posted. Not hard to get permission to hunt a grouse because mostly it's undesirable cover and
Nobody cares.
nobody cares.
You get on private if you ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if there's any. But that habitat, even you're not near as old as me, but that habitat's changed so much since you started
It
doing
has.
it.
My spots are mostly grown up.
Yeah, if you went back there now, you're not going to pull out 20 birds in
No.
the last 4 weeks of the season.
Nope.
You'd be up 2 maybe.
Yeah.
How far would you have to go now to get into some huntable numbers?
The farthest I've ever gone is probably an hour for grouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's pretty close. There's a lot of spots here within 5 minutes.
Now, does the state have any grouse? Like Michigan's got gems, so grouse enhanced management. So they'll do on big tracts of land. They'll do a lot of reforestation, or what do they call it, early successional forestry habits or management. And there's I don't know, I'm gonna say 6, 8, maybe a dozen in the state. Now they get pounded by people.
I was going to say.
But it's sometimes thousands of acres of quality habitat. Does Pennsylvania have anything for grouse?
They just started that, and I think you talked to the Lisa Williams.
Oh, that was a while back, yeah.
Yeah, she was like spearheading this, the West Nile stuff, and they did a lot with, it's mostly the ridges. And if you get onto the Pennsylvania Game Commission website, they have interactive maps of all the habitat that they've changed and like the priority for where they think it's going to be the best to improve the habitat for grouse.
Gotcha.
Mostly on like ridges and stuff. But it's really neat to see. I've never, since I have kids and too busy right now, I haven't really got to explore
Baseball.
it too
Can
much.
we talk about how much I hate baseball?
I talk about how much I hate baseball all day.
Did you play when you were a kid?
Yeah, I played up till I was like 25.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
So this is not abnormal.
It's not abnormal, but I used to do it for me. And don't get me wrong, I love the kids and I love everything about it, but it's just work for me. You know, it's work.
When that season's over, you're like, boy, I'm glad there's not a second season.
Yeah, and some of the people I coach with just love it, like for fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm doing this for my kids, and
if you didn't have two, if you had all girls,
I'd be at the sawmill and hunting.
You know, I'm gonna have to hit you up. I might need some wood cut for my place in Virginia. I might need some.
We can do that. Hemlock.
Hemlock no, I'm talking for siding on my garage.
Yeah, hemlock.
Hemlock.
It's better than pine.
Is it?
Yep. I don't have a cedar here.
Well, that's fine. Cedar's great for long lasting, but pine if you keep it dry. I mean, my house has had pine siding on it. We only use boards that get water drip on them. All right, back to the Broncos.
Yep.
What's your worst customer that came in for a Bronco?
Oh,
without
prepped me
naming
that
names.
question.
You don't even you have to tell me if it's a male or female.
Well, I can't think of. I'm trying to think in general. The worst ones are the more money they have, and the more uppity reasons they're getting this dog.
Yeah.
Is directly correlated to
how
much
what
of
they're
a
going to
pain
do
in
with
the
the
ass
dog
they're going to be and what they're going to do with it.
and what they're going to call you up with and
yeah,
ask
they
you.
want this dog so people in their neighborhood are interested in them.
It's like a trophy dog.
Exactly, instead of like the hunting people. Anyone who hunts with a dog are the best customers for sure.
Right. So if they start talking hunting and they've had a short hair or a Weimaraner or whatever, you're like, cool.
Yep, let's talk.
Cool,
Here's what this dog's going to do different. It's probably going to have a better temperament. You're probably going to think it's sweeter, like it more.
Yeah.
But
You're not taking it to a field trial.
it's probably not going to point as hard.
Right.
You're going to have to do more steady work.
It's not going to back another dog.
Yep.
That doesn't come.
That
with a
doesn't
Bronco.
happen.
I've told people that like, oh, it might. I'm like, no, there is not a backing bone in a Bronco's body. I've seen Bravo on a training grounds come over a hill with 3 dogs on point,
Storm
go
right
right through it, but not to take the bird out. If there was a cartoon bubble that was like narrating it, he would have been saying, "Hey, how come you guys all stopped hunting?"
Yeah.
That was
No clue.
He didn't like oh, they're on point. I'm gonna go be a takeout artist. He might scoot around the back of. Now, if he happened to come through him, then he's gonna screw the thing up. He had zero. I mean, less than zero. He had good cooperation, plenty of desire for me. Everything else, but backing was not a thing. And one of we've talked about that dog Quigley, that Bronco, Steve Hansen has. And I asked him. I saw him at the Invitational 2 years ago. Yeah, a little over 2. And I said, "How's the backing?" He says, "Well, I had to work on that." And the man got all 4s except in
Backing, no kidding.
and he didn't pass. I mean, the
talk
dog
to
is
that
phenomenal. The dog reminded me of Bravo that even did more. Like there just wasn't that many heavy hunting Bronco.
Yeah.
Most people that get them are more urban, and because if you've had terrific short hairs your whole life, you're not going to go to a Bronco.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
I take a lot of shit.
I do too.
A lot of friends have short hairs.
Like, is he gonna stop? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, because there ain't a backing bone in that body. I would say they've always said that the intensity of pointing is related to the back. Like if they're super intense pointers, like just like granite. But I've seen some granite points, but I've never seen them back ever.
I don't even know if I've seen granite points out of these dogs.
I've seen it. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was pine. Maybe I should take it out of the stone can.
They're in
Maybe
basswood.
Basswood.
I have they have this thing about them where they'll point, but it's like they're stopped. And even if I said their name, they'd be like, "Yeah," like look up at me or move or
All right,
something.
so I'm gonna go Bravo's back to at least lava, a softer rock, because you could walk around him and take if you had and he, not because he was on camera, but he's been on camera. You could walk around him if you were trying to set up a photography thing. He's going to hold point. He's not going to look
Locked
at you.
in.
He's just like, birds there, birds there. Artie was probably a little more, see it coming up and think, like, how close, and then she'd go back. But yeah, they somehow, like, they hear you coming, like, I don't know if they're saying hurry up because I don't know if I can do this much longer.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying.
I don't know what they're saying either.
It's a terrible breed of dog.
I know. The Pudelpointer was like 8 weeks old, and I put a bird out, and it's like locked in, and I could have picked him up and moved him around, and he would have been in the exact same position.
Tail hard as
like,
a wedding boner.
Yeah, I'm like that. That's good genes there. I don't know what these Italians are doing.
Well, they're lovers. They're not fighters. You know? Well, it's been a long journey for me with this breed. I never really. People keep asking me because I still get, I still refer people to you, right? I say, hey, call up Garrett, see if he's doing something. He occasionally has a litter of dogs, and I still probably filter a whole bunch just from the Meat Eater episodes, and my old website you can still find it. And I'm like, no, I said, I don't even know who's having them. And then when you called me the other day, it was like the old girlfriend. And you go into the class reunion. You're like, all right, I'm over her.
Yeah.
I'm over her. And you go to the class reunion. And
that's what I felt. It's back, baby.
It's back. I'm back in 8th grade, and Karen Berg's going to dance with me. No, and I was like, okay, you know what? Can't kill me, right? I've had terrible dogs in my life. I don't mean Broncos, but I've had a plethora of dogs, like 30-some dogs.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's still kind of in the weirdest way like my favorite breed. Even though I want other ones, and there's something about them.
Something about them, yeah.
Yeah.
I try to tell most of the people that call that it's more about the line than the breed because, like we talked earlier about the generalizations of breeds. Yeah. And I think these lines are pretty well suited. Of all the Broncos I've had, of super good family dogs with lots of bird drive.
Yeah.
There's problems, but lots of bird drive.
There's swimming with 2 legs only.
Yeah.
There's
we just had, I was going to tell you before when we were talking about swimming Murph, or you were talking about Big Boy. Last winter, we put a bunch of chuckers out at my cousin's over here. Mm-hmm. And one of them got away and went out on the ice. Luckily, it was only like a 4-foot pond. The bird was out on the ice. Murph went through and had his head above water, just sitting there treading water. And they're like, he can't, come on over and swim. I'm like, that's how he swims. So, me and 3 other people busted through the ice and made a human chain, and one of them grabbed him by the collar and drug him back in.
The only upside might be that those front feet just flailing.
Just kept them there,
and might break a little ice.
Yeah.
Might give them a little hope. Because, they're terrible. What does he weigh? He looks like he's like 80.
He's 82 pounds.
Is he? He's gorgeous. He is gorgeous. And what's her name? Walks?
I was going to ask, are you going to stick the name? Waxahachie. Just like the town from Texas.
Well, I love dogs with, say, Murph is a cool, you might want to meet somebody on a job site named Murph or in a bar. So, I'm not impressed with...
They have red hair.
Yeah. And I'm not... Always. So I'm never impressed with a regular name. I've had a couple regular name dogs, had Frankie. I've had a couple Rose, a couple normal.
Are you ripping on my dog names?
Yeah, basically. So Murph doesn't, but Walks, nobody has a dog named Walks.
Walks, yeah, and it's W-A-X.
I am not changing the name.
Oh, cool.
Because it's a cool name. I bet you could go through the whole NAVDA directory if they had the names next to the owners. You wouldn't see the name Walks.
That's true.
So immediately I'm going, all right, we got a good name to start with.
Yeah.
It's not hard to call. It's really a 1-syllable name with an S on it. So I'm liking the name. I don't know how she's gonna do with
W-A-X. W-O-S.
But X sounds like an S.
True.
Walks.
Yeah.
Because you can't say walk.
Yeah.
You got to say walks like X.
Yeah.
And she's 10 months.
10 months.
So she didn't get a hunting season in last year. She'd only been 3-4 months in season. Have you had her on birds?
No.
And
Just what we find running around the farm here.
oh, just residuals out here.
Yeah.
Have you seen her point?
Yes.
All right, that's check one box. We haven't seen her swim yet.
And needs some work. The point needs some work.
In what department would you say? Duration?
Yeah, duration and intensity.
Okay. Well, I could see that when I met her. When it's a new situation, she's a little more typical Bracco. Her tail, like Murph's tail stays up, like he's never met a stranger. Mm-hmm. And she tucks her tail a little bit until she kind of like, I don't know, we'll see. Mm-hmm. I think that's all tied into that too.
I think so too. What gives me hope is that's how Katie was at that age, and she doesn't have that.
And
now,
talk
as you
about a
can
slow
see.
maturing dog.
That's huge.
Christ,
You told me that when I first got my first Bracco from you, and I'm like, okay, we'll see.
We'll see.
I can train this dog, dude.
I had Weimeraner,
It took a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I tell everyone who gets a puppy from me, give it 2 years. When you think this dog isn't going to be a hunter, give it another year. And,
Yeah.
And it almost always just came around to anyone who's
Yeah.
persistent. I've had lots
Yeah.
of good results.
Yeah. How did Annie do in her what was her day?
She lost 1 point in 2 points in the track. She got
a 2 in tracking.
2 in
then?
tracking. So she got a 105 prize 2.
Oh,
So,
damn nice score.
or 108 prize 2.
108 price too.
Yeah.
Pointing force.
Yep, pointing search, everything was good but tracking.
Noise.
And it was a tough day for tracking. The only dog that got a 4 in tracking that day was a Munsterlander.
And how many times have I said that on my podcast?
Yeah.
If you want to go to a test, we would think, oh, we got a shitty field here. It's dry. Oh, the people are going to be complaining because the birds aren't running. And then you bring a small Munsterlander up, or even a large, but usually a small, and the dog bings it, and the first 3 dogs didn't.
Yeah.
You're like, sorry.
Damn it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But still, on bad conditions, a 2 it's a damn serviceable thing.
Yeah.
What else did we? Oh, your old podcast. Is that ever going to get revived?
I don't
You
know.
don't think so?
You know what was hilarious? I got a call last week from a guy in Missouri that wanted to buy the podcast off of us.
What?
Like he
Wait a
wanted
minute.
to,
I got to hit pause. Let's
Yeah.
wrap this thing up on the podcast world side of things. Somebody offered to buy.
Yeah, we haven't made a podcast in over probably 2 years now. We had mixed.
You guys had
we
fun.
mixed reviews on it.
You guys had fun doing it.
It was
though.
all over the place, and we had fun. But yeah, he wanted to buy the podcast, and I was thinking, I don't know what a podcast would be worth, if anything, but I'm pretty sure we'll just hand it over to you if you want to take our name. But yeah, we had fun. My friend Bob, who he started bird hunting with me. He has had short hairs his whole life. Mm-hmm. Wanted to do it, and we had a lot of fun talking about some dumb stuff, but once all of our subjects got covered, it kind of petered out.
Yeah. And there was nothing you didn't have enough. You didn't bring in. It was more like you guys just bullshitting, recapping hunts and everything like that. Yeah.
What's funny about it is he really did start bringing in other people,
To
like
interview?
taxidermists and his guides that he's going on sheep
Yeah.
hunts and stuff with. And it seemed like those were the worst episodes because they were dry.
It didn't have
you
the
didn't,
energy.
You didn't know each
Yeah.
other, and
That's the one regret. It's like a regret, not regret. I know a few that have started up over the years, and most of them have contacted me, or I've been on their show. They've been on my show. That we all kind of, like 5 or 6 of us are all friends. But one of them had a buddy doing it with him, and I was like, "Oh my God, would that be easy?" Because all you got to do is drink a beer and start talking.
yeah, because
And
that's what's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so I always wish like I had a neighbor or somebody that could even be like once a month come in, but I have never been able to find that because This is my 10th year doing this.
Oh, holy shit! I didn't know it was that long.
10th year. Yeah.
I think I started, listening like right away.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And like I was saying, I said, hey, if you don't have baseball game night, we need to do a podcast because I got to make content. I might as well let the whole freaking world know that I'm getting another Bronco.
Another Bronco.
Another Bronco. Female Bronco. Her name's Walks.
Yep.
I love it.
I'm excited for her because I feel
That
like
she's
she
going
needs
to
get some work.
That she's going to get, I've got the time. I'm not saying I have the energy, but I'll find the energy. But I don't have anything else. Like I literally, she's going to certainly get on, she's only 10 months, so she's going to get indoctrinated, like training grounds on Wednesday. She'll be around a bunch of dogs. That'll help things. But, she'll be going out, ready or not, she's going to North Dakota. She's going to be there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks' time, I'll let you know at the end of September if you're getting her back.
Sounds good.
But no, she's going to get, it'll be, like, if I was in your shoes, that would be like, if somebody said, well, the dog's going to go to North Dakota for 2 weeks, you'd be like, good.
Yes.
Because you're
Absolutely.
not going to be
I'm
able
not
to.
going to ever
You
go.
can't do it.
Yeah. Until I retire.
And yeah, until you retire, which is a few years away.
Couple
Couple what?
17. But
17 years. It's a couple of, it's less than 2 decades.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right, well, listen, I'll cut this thing off. So there's the ultimate truth. I don't know what I'm going to title this one, but it's kind of like, oops, I did it again.
Britney Spears.
Is that a song?
It's called Oops, I Did It Again.
Shit! That's where that came from.